So lots of teams to react to before this massive weekend of rugby. Let's get into it. We've got the Scotland-South Africa teams out. We've got Wales out to face Fiji. We've also got the Australian team out to face England. England went early on their team. So let's get stuck into it because there's some really interesting things here. And thank you very much to Sports News Blitz, who sponsors all these November videos. So Scotland, they went for a 6-2 split, maybe trying to match up with South Africa. But South Africa went one better and they went 7-1. Well, one more anyway. Whether it's better, we will see. Now, probably the biggest casualty from the 6-2 split is Adam Hastings, because they're starting Tom Jordan at 15 and he can play 10 as well. They've had to change that around. I don't think they would have done that normally, but we don't know. But Darcy Graham can't play. He's injured. So it looks like they've switched Kinghorn to the wing and then they've put Tom Jordan at 15 and maybe that'll allow them to do the 6-2, or maybe they'd have done it anyway. I would have liked to have seen Aaron Reid come in as a straight swap for Darcy Graham. I think Aaron Reid has been unbelievable. I would say that as I cover the Premiership in detail. Other players I might like to have seen was maybe Rory Hutchinson instead of Stafford McDowell. Again, maybe my Premiership bias there, but I think Hutchinson is just box office every time he plays for Northampton. And as expected, it's all change in the half-backs as Ben White, Finn Russell, they take over. But no normal place for the impact sub George Horn. Is that a mistake? They've gone for Jamie Dobby, and I'm guessing again that is flexibility because of the 6-2 split. So maybe they're making some concessions for the 6-2 split. Would have liked to have seen George Horn. I'm pretty sure he's fit, let me know. Second row, it's unsurprising. We've got the experienced pair of Gilchrist and Cummings, but he hasn't picked any of the greys in his wider squad because I think Johnny is back playing, but he said he's not ready, and Townsend's just plain not picked the elder Richie because I think he's just moving on basically, so that's a bit tough. Now they're very strong in the back row are Scotland, but this is very much their go-to back row these days. Big Dempsey there, the big ball carrier, all arms and legs. The more dynamic former number 8, if you like, Matt Fagerson, is now at 6, so plenty of ball carrying. And Rory Darge is just the main man now, vice-captain as well. He is the open side. We've got a few guys on the bench there who can play back row as well. We've got Jamie Ritchie, the former captain, Josh Bayliss, so 2 back rowers to come on. Max Williamson is the young replacement second row. Now the front row is as strong as it can be. Schoeman and Fagerson, absolute first choices. I think they're potentially world-class props. Are they going to be strong enough coming off the bench with Sutherland and Miller Mills? Dylan Richardson looks like he's the apprentice now that Ashman has moved up because Turner has moved on. Townsend definitely doesn't like Johnny Matthews, who's not even in the wider squad. He's technically perfect, the Glasgow hooker, but for some reason he doesn't fit. Maybe he's a bit too old, I don't know, but that's a bit tough there. But Ashman, he is the man now. So that front 5, that back row looks really good, and they're pretty much full noise in the backs apart from that change because of Darcy Graham. The bench though, is it as strong as that South African bench? Not so sure actually. It looks like they've had to compromise a bit with Dobby, McDowell. Do they have the impact? I think that South Africa maybe might come through as their bench is stacked full of their first choice players. And Rassie Erasmus has very much changed up this South African team, taken me by surprise a bit. He hasn't gone with his first choice team. Why is that? Well, is it disrespectful for Scotland? Do they think they're just going to beat them easily? No, I don't think it's that. He likes to build a big squad. He says it as much. He wants to get these players lots of experience, so it's not just the starters getting all the caps. So he has pretty much changed it up. Apart from the front 5, because Thomas du Toit is starting at tight head. Malherbe is injured for this tour, so that was always going to be a change. I got that wrong in the last video, but yeah, front 5, yeah, okay, first choice, but the rest of it, definitely not. Van Staden, Lowe and Smith, that is not the starting back row. In fact, Lowe is at 7, blindside that is for South Africa, so normally he's at 8. Quagga Smith, he gets his 50th cap from 8. And then on the bench, look at this. This is their normal bomb squad so far of Mark Steenekamp, Koch and Snyman. But then we've got Siya Kolisi, the normal captain, and Peter Steph du Toit and Jasper Wiese. I mean, the whole back row can change, and I'm sure it will. And that is their starting back row coming on. That could be so painful. I wonder when they pull the trigger on that one. Now, apart from Jaden Hendrickse, the rest of the backs are complete second choice. That doesn't mean they're second rate. They're very good players, but he likes his competition. Erasmus likes friendly competition. So when the first choice come back in, which I'm sure they will at some point, they'll feel that extra pressure to perform even higher. So Pollard gets a start at 10, very steady. Esterhazen is a quality 12, but rarely starts when Diolande is first choice. Am is now the second choice 13, but he has been one of the best 13s in the world. Then you've got young Moody on one wing, the experienced Mapimpi on the other, and the old stager LaRue, who has lost his place to Fassi, maybe Willemse when he's back fit, so he's going to want to prove a point as well. So loads of players here wanting to prove a point because they know there's loads of players to come back in later games and off the bench as well. So is it good enough to beat Scotland? I don't know. I think I would actually probably put Scotland as favourites here. I would have put South Africa if they were full noise, but these guys haven't played together so much, so that's a bit tricky. Still very good. And even if it was the first choice, I'd say Scotland have a decent chance because this is their first choice team at home. A great chance to take a scalp. That bench, though, I think that bench is much more powerful than the Scottish bench, and it could well be the difference. So even though I'm saying Scotland, I'm not sure. Maybe South Africa will take it with that bench. Let me know what you think. Now, just before we go on to the Wales team, the Australia team is out to face England, and it's pretty much exactly as I'd predicted in my previous video, apart from they've pulled the trigger, they've taken the risk with Saoili at 13. Let me know how I pronounce that one if I've got it right. He's the convert, the new guy coming from rugby league. I say convert, he has played rugby union as a youngster, so it's not a complete change. Chucking him straight in the lineup. Why is that? Well, he is a special guy. They've obviously paid a lot of money to get him over, and they know his physicality. He's just a hell of an athlete. He's big, he's tall, he's strong, he's got great skills. There is no reason for him not to be a star in rugby union, just experience. So surely England will try and test him with lots of different running lines. We'll see if they can do that, but he has got such an edge physically over his opposite number in Lawrence and Slade. I just think he's got that height, he's got that power. Could be a star. Will he get caught out at this stage? Yeah, possibly, but it's worth sticking with him. He's going to be a starter for Australia soon anyway, so they're going straight in there. They've got some injuries, and also we've got the British and Irish Lions coming to town next year, and I'm sure he will be a part of it if it goes half decently. Let's get into this Welsh team first of all, and definitely Gatland is searching for something, and I think he's right to do so. He still hasn't found his best Welsh team. And to be honest, I quite like the look of this one. I know I've been a bit down on Wales in the past, but I am hopeful here, although lots of unknowns. Let's start with this backline because he is absolutely trying something new. Most of the rumours seem to be true. He went with Thomas Williams and Gareth Anscombe, the Gloucester pairing, both very experienced. Anscombe, I'm not sure, has a whole lot more to offer for too much longer, but he's a steady head. He's going to make good decisions. I don't think he's going to attack the line crazy quick, but he's got outside him Ben Thomas. So Ben Thomas played fly half in the summer against Australia and did well, but normally for Cardiff he plays inside centre, so this makes quite a lot of sense. You need some danger outside him. Was it going to be Eddie James? Was it going to be Grady? No, he's looked at the form guy. He's looked at Max Llewellyn of Gloucester, who's playing fantastic rugby. So we've got Anscombe, Thomas and Llewellyn in that midfield. Again, completely new, but why not? They're very talented. There's a good balance there. It could work. So if this works and he can stick with something like this for the autumn, then this could be Wales going forward. Of course, a lot of ifs. Thomas Williams, though, 100% happy with him. He's on great form. He should be Wales' number 9 going forward, even towards the World Cup. Back three, looking a bit different, but looking balanced. Liam Williams was available, but I think he's injured anyway, so Cameron Winnett continues. He's got a bit of experience now for Wales. I'm not 100% on Winnett being a top quality 15 yet, but he's still very young, thrown in maybe a little early, but he's learning on the job. And then on the wings, he's got some size and power with Mason Grady moving out of the centres. Maybe that wasn't working anyway, although he's an option, but Grady on one wing and then Blair Murray on the other. No space for Dyer. Don't know if he's injured or not. I'm assuming it's just a straight drop. Josh Adams could figure again when he's back from injury, but Murray has come over from New Zealand, so a very different looking winger setup, a different looking midfield. So those backs, is very much up in the air, but I think the balance is there, the talent is there. So yeah, I wish them luck. Let's see if they can cut through Fiji and score some good tries, especially off launch plays and that sort of thing. Anyway, into the pack, which looks a bit more experienced. We've got Thomas, Lake and Griffin, which is what I was expecting. Griffin, I think he's had a bit of an illness, but he's back, and he is the bright spark that I saw in that summer series. So he's the young tight head who I see a lot in. Lake's playing really well. Thomas is a good player, so happy with that starting front row. The backups, Elias Smith, Azarati, not so sure, but we'll see. He's resisted starting a youngster in the second row, so we've got Schwinzer on the bench covering second row by the looks of it, because we've got two other back rows on the bench. So he's gone Rowlands and Beard, loads of caps there, loads of experience. They're not going to make too many mistakes. Plumtree was pretty physical in the summer, so he retains a blind side. Would Jack Morgan have started if fully fit at open side? I don't know. He's on the bench, so he's obviously fit enough, but he had a bit of a knock or something. But Raffel's there, but they've got that 6-2 split, so it looks like both of them's going to come on at 6 for Plumtree, and Morgan for 7 is my guess. And Wainwright plays the whole game because he's clearly their best 8. So stacking it out on the bench, always a bit of a risk with the 6-2 split. So we've got Ellis Bevan covering 9, Costello covering 10. Then you'd have to do a bit of a reshuffle, but Thomas could still play 10 if he needed to. You could use Grady into the centre. So I think the cover's there for the 6-2. It should be a great game against Fiji, who will be much more stacked than they were last week, because they got all their international stars back, all those stars playing overseas. So it should be a really good game. Is it must win for Wales? Well, kind of. This is a good chance for them to get a win, but still so many changes in their backline. You can't expect them to be perfect, but I am hopeful. I think they're going to win, and this could well be a backline that goes forward in the future. Let me know what you think.